Yeah, that was an incredible grand final. Today, we concluded the event at IEM Rio with the grand final matchup between Mouz and Navi. Navi in their 6th straight grand final, looking for trophy number 3 since the player break, and Mouz on the hunt for some staged glory, trying to prove the haters wrong as we ramp up for the major. This was certainly a back and forth affair, as during the first 2 maps of this finals, it looked like Navi were going to run away with a sweep. Mouz took a while to come online, but when they did, they executed a brilliant game plan on Mirage, and heading into the 4th map on Ancient, it looked like a foregone conclusion that we'd be going to a 5th decider on Nuke. And then, just like they have throughout this tournament, Navi authored an amazing, emphatic comeback on the final map to win it in decisive fashion. Which means, of course, that we have a lot to go over, so let's not waste any more time. Before we get started, make sure you guys leave a like, leave a comment down below, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It helps out immensely in the YouTube algorithm, and thank you for doing it. Also, do me a solid, follow me on twitch.tv/LionHeartZ2. If you're watching this video right now, I am probably live over there playing some Counter-Strike and talking about the events of the day, so come on by, say hello. Without any further ado, let's get cracking into this epic matchup. Alright, so before we get into the individual maps, let's start a little bit broad. Navi felt very decisive throughout this entire series, especially on Inferno and Dust 2 and on the back half of Ancient. It took a while for Mouz to really get online and start playing their familiar style we've seen throughout this event, and while Jimfat and Torji certainly played to a very high level on all of these maps, it was Brolin and Xerxin who really struggled throughout this entire series, and that hurts, especially for Xerxin, because he's normally the key to success for this team, especially on the T side. His aggression with the rifle is pivotal to set up the other players and make the attacks work. He had an especially bad time on Dust 2, only getting 2 kills throughout that one-sided affair, more on that in just a minute. Looking over at Navi, this was a crazy team-wide performance throughout this series. Look at this stat line. Everybody except for Alexi B is at, near, or over 60 kills over 4 maps, and all 4 of their star players are above a 1.1 rating, and everyone except for JL is above a 1.2. That is a crazy spread of impact fragging throughout, and that's what makes Navi so hard to put down, is they aren't reliant on one person. Someone can have a bad game, and Bit, Wonderful, Emma, JL, somebody else is going to step up. That's why they were able to come back against Heroic yesterday, and that's why they pulled off the comeback on Ancient we're going to get into later. They're very hard to knock out. If you win against Navi, it's because you stomp them. Close games are going to favor this team because of how spread the talent is. That's why they're so good. I also think the veto is worth mentioning here because obviously Navi are not that great in best of 5s because of their map pool issues, but I do think Mouz misplayed their hand somewhat. Obviously Anubis and Vertigo were going to get banned, they're the permabans of both teams, and from there, first picking Inferno is exactly what you should do every time into Navi. If you can play Inferno well, pick it into Navi, you're going to have a chance. Unfortunately, didn't work out, more on that in a minute. But I'm not mad at all about Mouz going to Inferno on the first map, I think it totally makes sense. Navi picked Dust 2 after that, and this is where I think Mouz messed up. They picked Mirage. Obviously, Navi are one of the 2 best Mirage teams in the world. Mouz are no slouch on it. The problem is the 2 previous times that Navi and Mouz have played each other on Mirage, Navi won in heartbreaking fashion both times. Mouz haven't beaten this Navi roster on Mirage, and Nuke is right there. The other map that Navi doesn't do very well on, that Mouz like to play. It's one of their 2 most played maps over recent spans. Instead, they picked Mirage into Navi, and admittedly, they do win that Mirage game quite decisively. However, that allowed Navi to pick Ancient as the 4th map. Ancient is one of Mouz's worst maps. So I think instead, had Mouz picked Nuke as the 3rd map, Navi would have picked Mirage as the 4th, and we would have had Ancient as the decider, and I think that spread of maps works way better for Mouz's ability to win this series, because if you can win in 4 games, you don't even have to play Ancient, and the 4 maps you've picked, you play, and play very well, especially into Navi. Instead, you have to fight Navi in the Thunderdome on Mirage, and then even if you win that game, you're going to Ancient, which is not favorable for you at all, before you can make it to a Nuke decider. Overall, it's not a bad pick ban for Mouz. I do think it could have been better, and obviously, as they went on to lose the series, I think it's worth criticizing. Alright, with the stats out of the way, let's get into the first map, Inferno. Now, we're going to skip the first half here. It was 7-5, Mouz started off really strongly on their T side, but I want to entirely focus on how Navi navigated this second half on their T side, as their T side on Inferno is arguably their worst side in the entire game that they play. For reference, I checked earlier in the week, they were hovering around a 35% T round win rate over the last couple of months on Inferno, which is obviously disastrous. And this is what has made Navi so vulnerable on the map at large. Now, I say all that to let you know that Navi navigated this T-side basically flawlessly. It was one of their best played T-sides at the entire event, and it definitely caught all of us off guard, including Mouz. Now we start off kind of slow, Navi wins the pistol round, Mouz fire back though, and win the force buy on the second, meaning that now Navi have to force buy back into them, and we pretty much have to play this back and forth game of force buying until a team wins 2 rounds in a row, and the other has to capitulate. And the tone that Navi sets throughout their T side here is decisiveness. Previously, they have struggled under pressure to make correct decisions, bad mid-round calls, generally lackluster site takes with the timer running low, and that has cost them games like against Liquid earlier in the tournament. Now they're navigating this round from their default setup. Alexi B, JL, wonderful, they're going to flex towards Banana and play the utility exchange at the beginning of the round. Meanwhile, Emma and Bit are going to lurk around mid and app specifically so they can play for intel and watch for frags that might be given over too easily by Mouz. If Banana is denied, or they can't get anything going there, or just want to back off, Emma and Bit are already in a great position to make the A hit work, or rotate and help as needed. This is the Navi default. Mouz have played this really smart in their own right, pushing down, getting banana control all the way to T stairs, flushing the T's out so they know that it has to be something moving towards A unless a lot of noise is made. Unfortunately for Mouz, Emma is about to hit a crazy deagle shot, and now it's time for all these low buy weapons to scrap around A. Shuhei is stuck in A side by himself because Torji is still scrapping in mid. Emma picks up another kill on him, trading out JL. Shuhei gets the first pick on Wonderful, but he's still stuck in sight by himself as Brolin and Xerxin are still making their way over from B. Shuhei goes down, Bit gets the bomb down, and in the 2v2 post plant, Brolin hits an unfortunate dink onto Bit, but Bit just has better aim and dinks him back with the MP9 for the kill, leaving Xerxin low on time with the M4, and he's unable to convert the 1v2. So, okay, force by 1 again, but Mouz are going to force right back into the next round until someone wins 2 in a row, like I said. JL is going to lead the Vanguard up Banana as always. He's going to get fully blind by a flash, but he's going to take care of Xerxin before he goes down to Brolin, who's quickly traded out by Wonderful, leaving Navi in a 4v3, and at this point they're going to take the B site pretty swiftly, and Mouz have to just try and save. This retake is next to impossible, and it's better to limp into next round while you save for a gun round than give up too much more economy to Navi. And no need to litigate the next round. They have a scout, an MP9, and a bunch of pistols. Obviously, Mouz aren't going to convert that one. We can just scoot on over to the next buy round. Now, this is pretty much the one blemish on this T side from Navi. I straight up think this was just a bad call right out the gate. They're going to play very fast through mid. They're going to go for a fast A, change up the pace a little bit, which normally I like. I think playing with pace is one of the best ways to operate in Counter-Strike. The problem is they push up Arch way too fast. Alexi B does what is honestly just a lazy clear of the cubby, doesn't check it all the way. It puts Shuhei in a great position to get a double kill before getting traded out, and that just guts the attack and leaves Torji in a great position to refrag after him. JL does eventually get the bomb down, which helps to alleviate the sting a little bit, but this strat I think has good intention. If the clear was a little better, maybe they could have caught Mouz off guard. Now, in the next round, off of a blade timeout, I really like how Navi recovers from an early deficit. JL goes down in the B wars very early with nothing given back for Navi in return, so they've lost B control. They're not able to push it, they're too walled off by the Mouz nades. But on the other side of the map, Bit and Emma have lurked all the way through apartments and over towards the balcony. The problem for Mouz here is that they're playing sites. They're watching mid passively, holding Jimmy in the pit, and allowing Navi to hold the mid control. Normally not a big deal, but the problem is there's nobody on site to play crossfire with Jimmy to watch apartments. His apartments is exposed and Jimmy has to split his time between lane and apps. He gets caught out. That allows Bit to swing into a free double kill, which blows up the site control, giving Navi the chance to late rotate the bomb in. The rotating B players do their best around mid. Brolin gets a nice pick on lane, but he gets traded out right after, and Xerxin's left in a 1v3 that he can't navigate. Navi take the next round off the back of a save from Mouz, and now we're moving into crunch time. Navi are looking for match point. Mouz are looking for anything to keep them alive, and this is where conditioning is really important. Every time Navi have gone for B control, they have not shown any kind of half-wall boost or peek over the logs. They usually play around the half-wall or just play behind the smoke and wait till they get an opportunity to move in afterwards. But here, with all the smokes and mollies going down, Alexi B and JL creep up, boost over the half-wall, and JL gets a free double spray onto Mouz, totally unawares just playing the corner with utility. This blows the round open right away and puts Mouz on an incredible back foot. Torzy does get an off-pick in apartments, but he gets quickly traded out for his troubles, and at that point things quickly fall apart. You guys get my point here? This is just very decisive in a way that Navi normally aren't on Inferno lately. They're playing together, they're exploiting the lurks through A really well, and they've done a good job of holding Mouz accountable for any openings. Mouz do their best to get this to overtime, but are unable to convert. Navi take an honest surprising win on Inferno to go up 1-0 in the series. Now, yeah, so Dust 2 was a bit one-sided, you know, 13-2. Not exactly the most competitive game I've seen Mouz play recently. Yeah, I kinda don't really have much to add here. Dust 2 is already not exactly the map with the greatest tactical depth, and Navi were operating on the playbook of, we'll go here and win our gunfights, because they will not win theirs. And when you look at the score differential, yeah, that checks out. Xerxin had like no kills on the first half, I'm pretty sure. Oh no, he got his only 2 on the first half. And then finished the game with 0, because it was over that fast. Anyways, moving on to Mirage. And, you know, considering, once again, as I stated earlier, Navi's best map, I was very much convinced that we were about to have a sweep, and that this would be a much shorter video than I know it's going to be now with the benefit of hindsight. Dude, as much as Mouz got slapped around on Dust 2, they handed that clapping right back to Navi. I mean, this was an incredible game from Mouz. It's kind of crazy looking at the stats for Navi on Mirage, by the way, because for the last 3 months, it's just all dominance. One triple overtime loss to Vitality, and then there's just 2 ugly blemishes, both of them at Rio. One from Furia, which, what? And then the other one is Mouz, right now. And they were stomps. Like, Navi doesn't get stomped on this map, because they either beat you or make it really, really difficult for you to win. Now, on this T side for Mouz, rounds were won or lost in mid, as they often are with the current meta of Mirage, and honestly, this first gun round here on round 3, they got disassembled. A bad push into connector gave JL a very free first kill, and then everything fell apart shortly thereafter. But Mouz fire right back into mid, no fear in the next round. Xerxin fires right through the short cat smoke, and him and Shuhi combine to take out Emma and JL for free. And with Bit not knowing where his shoulders were, Torzy gets the 3rd pick uncontested, putting Navi in a 2v5, which, you know, listen, yeah, Navi might win those every once in a while, not this round. Heading into the next round, once again, it's all about mid. It's mid first, site second. There were pretty much no direct site takes from Mouz in this game. They wanted that mid control no matter what, and if they didn't get it, they pretty much lost the round. Shuhi and Xerxin once again combined to take care of JL and Emma. This time the roles reversed though, as Xerxin pushed through his connector while Shuhi gets through the smoke into catwalk, catching Emma off guard. Bit gives Navi 1 back, and not that long after, Alexi B takes care of Xerxin in the connector. But after Jimmy takes care of Bit on top of site, Wonderful and Alexi are split, Jungle and Cat, and all Mouz have to do is consolidate, take the A side, and get the bomb down. Wonderful manages to get one onto Brolin as Jimmy pushes up and Shuhi goes through connector. Shuhi turns around though and takes care of Alexi, landing Wonderful in a 1v2 that he can't pull over the line. Skipping ahead a little bit, you can see just how volatile Mirage is at this point in its meta. Teams are very averse to taking the sites without that mid control, so whoever wins the opening mid fight is going to dictate the pace of the rest of the round. Going down a man on Mirage is just so crippling. And here, Mouz just get picked apart as soon as the first domino falls. JL takes out Shuhi by opening up the short cat smoke. A little later on, they're trying to push into connector. Bit blows open the top connector smoke, finds Xerxin totally unawares for a free pick as well. And at this point, Mouz are just looking for anything. They're up catwalk with the bomb. JL takes care of Brolin. Torzy gets the refrag, but the damage is already done. This is just such a hard spot to recover from. But overall, and as you can see from the final scoreline, Mouz were just more successful than they failed on this map. It's kind of not much more complicated than that. I will say Navi did a good job of trying to throw some adaptations out before they got to their T side. Here on the last round of the half, I think this is a very smart switch up. JL gets out of window fast to go for a fast underpass push and completely catches Shuhi unawares. That pick puts Navi up 5-4 and puts Mouz on the back foot, so they have to slow the round way down. Ultimately, they're going to work into a late A hit, and this is just a round that Navi have to convert. You have the man advantage, you have the players tucked on site, you're even cleared through B, so you know this is going to be A, but the fights just don't go their way. Bit gets bonded at a really bad time, still manages to get one pick first trouble before he gets traded out. From there, Navi just lose a lot of these gunfights. Torji takes care of JL on stairs, and even on low health, he's able to take care of Alexi B before he gets traded out, but at that point, Jimmy takes care of Wonderful in CT, Imma's in the 2v1, and he can't pull it over the line. The picks and trades just favored Mouz, they held that momentum throughout the rest of the game, and that got them the map victory, avoiding the sweep as we head into Ancient. And honestly, the best way to talk about the first half of Ancient is that Mouz carried the momentum from the last game. They were running on all cylinders to start off Ancient. Now, of course, the first thing to talk about is this Alexi B clip where he says, "Come on, boys, they're just getting lucky. We are absolutely better. We can bring this game back." And he was down 9-1 when he said this, and we know how the story ends. So, getting into that a little bit, were Mouz lucky? Sure, there's some element of that. I feel like that luck is always going to be present in a competitive game of any kind, but to be fair, they were putting themselves in good positions. I think the thing we need to look at here are 4 of the 5 post-plan situations that Mouz won throughout this first half. Now, firstly, we're at round 6. Navi have just gotten their first round on the board, and Mouz have 4 spot back to try and combat the already low econ Navi players. Now, right out the gate, Imma gets disassembled by the mid barrage from Mouz, but honestly, I don't really think Navi gave him the right support to push through the elbow smoke. There wasn't really enough counter flashes or any kind of counter utility to really help him or back him up, no teammates going with him. He kind of just went on a solo mission and got punished for it. Now, the round does get super awkward from here because, as you can see, Navi are rotating towards A because Bit is all the way out on the A site, but the remaining Mouz players have grouped up outside of caves and are clearing down towards double doors as JL pushes onto an empty B site and starts to make his way towards CT, giving the call that, like, hey, they're pushing through caves. I don't really know what's going on. So now Navi are in a weird spot, right? Because Bit has the A site clear, and so does JL have the B site clear. Where do you go? Navi decided to pull it back and go off of JL's call that he's in CT, bring it back B, but that ends up being the worst option because Mouz have just parked out by the double doors. Navi are walking into a trap and JL is isolated on his own as Mouz start to clear back towards into the B site. JL's gonna get spotted out by Torji in mid, so they know that JL is isolated now on the B side. They're gonna be able to take him out pretty cleanly, Brolin with a great UMP shot, as the remaining Navi players try to power it up ramp and get into the site. Alexi B is gonna get a nice pick onto Shuhi, try and get the bomb down. Brolin gets his second UMP kill of the round onto Wonderful as Alexi B tries to get the bomb, while Bit's over in mid just trying to catch up. Alexi B is isolated alone while Bit's rotating with 8 health, and that's just not a recipe for anything to go well. The site falls shortly after. Brolin gets his third pick on the Bit with the UMP. UMP gang rise up. But for real, what a weird round. Flashing ahead to the next time Navi managed to get into a post plant, we're in one of those weird hero AK save rounds. Navi are just trying to do anything while they try and wait to get to their next gun round. They end up settling on a mid-B split late in the round, and as they push for the site control, Shuhi and Brolin combine to take Alexi B and Imma off the board. JL takes out Brolin in the caves as the bomb goes down, and then, yeah, things start to get a little bit weird again. JL and Bit start pushing through the CT smokes trying to get position on the Mouz players, and all of a sudden, all of Bit, Wonderful, and JL get a pick apiece, suddenly flipping the script from a 5v3 into a 3v1 as JimFat attempts another hero clutch. He takes care of Wonderful, knows the other 2 players are pushed up around CT, so he starts to make his move. He takes out Bit cleanly, stranding JL in the 1v1, then we play a little ring around the Rosie around the Bubblesj before JimFat makes the push for the bomb. It's not necessarily planning for JL and CT, so Jimmy hops the defuse, daring JL to push, but JL just decides to molly it out, but Jimmy is sticking with the kit right in your face for the round steal that Navi could have easily won. And at this point, it's like the Counter-Strike gods want there to be a final map. Like, Mouz are getting everything they want. which is why Navi's play on the second half was so invigorating to watch, because Navi could have just given up. Like with Heroic yesterday, this team has been through a hellish schedule over the last couple of months, been in every grand final, playing every tournament to the bloody end, no rest for the weary, traveling all over the world, and still, Navi managed to dig down deeper and mine more gold. They know that they are better than Mouz. They know they have more experience than Mouz in these kinds of moments, and they knew if they could just get some rounds going, build some momentum, that maybe, just maybe, they could make Mouz break just like Heroic did. And that's what happened. Outside of a round 16 win where Mouz used Brolin to bully his way into the B site, Mouz couldn't get anything during the second half. And it's clear as Navi continued to build momentum, the cracks started showing, Mouz started making mistakes. Round 20, they managed to get the bomb down on a nice A hit on a low econ situation, but they don't have the utility or the manpower to hold off the Navi retake, especially because Torji is so far away on the rotate. On the very next round, after spreading the map, playing out in time, Mouz have a great opportunity. They slip through the mid control late, splitting up through A, getting 4 into Donut, isolating Wonderful on the back of the site, but Emma creeps up behind him through Red Room, takes care of Brolin before getting traded out by Torji, leaving us in a 4v4 post-plan situation. Bit and JL through CT, they manage to make a miracle work. JL goes down, but Bit gets the double kill. Alexi B on the cave flank from mid, takes care of Torji, never looking for it, isolating Jimfat in a 1v3 outside of A main, and he can't do anything about it. We head into the next round. Once again, very similar start. Mouz spread the map, play intel on both sides, see what Navi are doing. After wasting a bunch of time, they collect, group up in mid, and start to work mid to B this time. However, they're going to try and push through into Donut for intel, and here's where you can tell the cracks are forming. Normally, there's no way that the guys hopping up to cave wouldn't want Red Room to cover their teammates' back, but nobody does. Right as their teammates turn away to go to cave, Emma pushes out of Red Room and gets 2 of the freest kills of his career. Just horrific timing as the 3 remaining Mouz players try to make their way into B. JL takes care of Shuhei, and from there it just continues to fall apart. And straight off Heroic's Nightmares, another 10-2 half turns into 11-11. And now you're in the position where you need to fend off match point. You don't want Navi to get there, but your bank and your morale are all too low. You have to force into this round. You have no choice. And Navi smells the blood in the water. Bit and Emma in mid, run boost Bit into the caves, he gets one. Emma gets a freebie full blind before Jimmy takes care of him. Bit turns around, gets his second kill on the Brolin, and the round is already destroyed. And it's gotta be just salt in the wound that after all of that struggle, after so many dominant rounds by Navi, you pull up to the final round of regulation, hoping and praying for overtime, and you get so close to getting it over the line. At first, it's desperation. Shuhei and Jimmy fall in the B hit, but there's a little bit of hope, right? Torji has lurked all the way onto the A side. He's isolated Wonderful. If you can just rotate the bomb over, maybe, just maybe, you can make it work. Alexi B and Wonderful fall in short order, but Emma gets a crucial one back onto Brolin, but there's still a glimmer of hope. You can get the bomb down just before the timer goes off, but right as Xerxen finishes planting the bomb, he falls, leaving Torji in an impossible situation, but he does his best. He takes out Bit. He takes out JL. It comes down to a 1v1 against Emma, the guy who's been hurting you left, right, and center all series long. But Torji can't pull off one more miracle. Emma has the grenades. The smoke pretty much seals the deal. Navi finish another improbable comeback on Ancient to secure the victory and raise yet another trophy in IEM Rio. Alright guys, I'm gonna keep it short and sweet this time because this has just been another long video to get done for you guys in short order. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thank you to Advanced.gg. Check out the link in the description. Browse their products, and if you decide to make a purchase, use my code LIONS10 at checkout for 10% off. I also work with Refrag. I think they're the best self-help platform in CS2. If you want to improve your game, get a Refrag subscription at the link in the description down below, and use my code LION15 for 15% off. Thank you to Refrag. Shout out to my channel members, Justin, Jesse, Furley, Bubblesj, Dr. Cocktor, Milan Berta. If you want to support the channel directly, you can do so at the link in the description. Also follow me on Twitch. Oh my god. Okay. Yeah, we're almost done. Peace.